Hey, welcome to edX World. The entire syllabus of IGCSE Accounting has already been covered. You can see all the content, you can see all the chapters in the syllabus in the playlist. With this video, I'm going to begin a series where I'm going to cover solved examples on various topics. Today's topic is clubs and societies. I have an example here wherein I'll tell you how to analyze the question and then go about solving the question. Towards the end of the video, I've also added 4 multiple choice questions. The answers for those questions are in the description box. So when you see the question on the screen, make sure you try to solve the example on your own first and then check the solution in the video later. And same goes for multiple choice questions. Try to solve them, try to get the correct answer and then check the answers with the answer given in the description box. If you have any doubts, let me know in the comment section below. If you get it right, still let me know in the comment section below. It will be a great motivation for me. So this is the question that I have for you. The question is on a sports club. Initially, it begins with giving you the opening assets and liabilities. At the end, they have accumulated fund, which is a question mark. We will calculate that later. Then they've given a receipt and payment account. Certain adjustments are there, 5 adjustments are there. And you are required to calculate the subscriptions for the year, prepare the income and expenditure account, and prepare the statement of financial position. So let us begin with our subscriptions for the year. How do I calculate subscriptions for the year? There are 2 ways. First is you prepare a subscription account and the balancing figure in the account will be the income for the year. But if the question doesn't specifically mention to prepare a subscription account, here it's just to calculate the subscriptions for the year. You could use the formula method wherein you add and subtract the relevant adjustments to the subscriptions received. You will arrive at the subscription for the year. I will show you both the methods and then you decide which one is suitable for you. So what all figures would be relevant in preparing the subscription account or calculating subscription for the year? I have subscriptions owing at the beginning of the year 600. This will be useful. Then subscriptions received during the year in the receipt and payment account is 12,540. Going to our adjustments, subscriptions owed by members, accrued subscription at the end of the year is 240 and prepaid subscription at the end of the year is 180. So we will be using all of this to prepare our subscriptions account. We begin our subscriptions account with the balance brought down, the opening balance at the beginning of the year. Subscriptions owing by member, accrued subscription is a debit balance in the books of the clubs. So I will be writing balance brought down on the debit side as 600. Subscriptions of 12,540 as per the receipt and payment account have been received during the year. This will be recorded on the credit side of the subscriptions account. Accrued subscription at the end of the year as per the adjustment is 240. This is again an asset for the club at the end of the year. This will be recorded as balance carried down on the credit side. And prepaid subscription at the end of the year was 180. This will be recorded on the debit side as balance carried down. Once all the entries are there in the subscription account, our next step is to take the balancing figure as transferred to income and expenditure account, and that will be the subscriptions for the year. So we have arrived at our subscriptions for the year at 12,000. Let's say you do not want to prepare a subscription account because the question has not asked for it and you want to save time. So you can calculate the subscriptions for the year by using the formula method. You will start with your subscriptions received during the year, 12,540. To this, add your accrued subscription at the end of the year, which is 240, and deduct prepaid subscription at the end of the year 180 and also deduct accrued subscription at the beginning of the year 600. When you do that, you will get your subscriptions for the year as again $12,000. Let us continue and prepare our income and expenditure account. So let's discuss all the incomes that we have in this question. Whenever you want to record the incomes in the income and expenditure account, always start with your receipt side of the receipt and payment account. On the receipt side, I have sale of sportswear, but at the same time, I can also see there are purchases of sportswear. There is inventory, opening inventory of sportswear. There is closing inventory of sportswear. So it means the club was involved in the trading of sportswear items, we need to calculate the profit or loss from the trading activity, and that profit or loss will be included in the income and expenditure account. To calculate the profit or loss, you will have to calculate the cost of sales, and from the sales, we will deduct the cost of sales to arrive at the profit or loss. So let us prepare our first working note. Calculating our cost of sales first. Cost of sales will be equal to opening inventory plus purchases minus closing stock. Opening inventory is given in the question as 150. Purchases you could find in the payment side of the receipt and payment account as 2410. But there's also an adjustment here, adjustment number 2, which says that creditors were remaining to be paid at 90. It means the total purchases for sportswear was 2410, the payment made, plus the closing creditors balance of 90, 2500 would be the total purchases. And from this we will deduct our closing inventory of sportswear 180. So we get our cost of sales as 2470. This will be compared with the sales to arrive at the profit. Our sales is 3510, so obviously the club has made a profit during the year from the trading activity. So our profit will be equal to 3510 minus 2470, $1040. Going ahead with our receipt side, we have subscriptions, but subscriptions for the year have already been calculated at 12,000. We will put directly that in the income and expenditure account. Receipts from open days, that is a part of the income, 4,180. But if you see the payment side, there is also an item which is expenses for open day. Now, if there is an income and expense for the same event, you can't put the income separately under the income and the expenses under the expenditure side. You will have to find out the net income or net expense and include in the income and expenditure accordingly. Here my receipts are 4,180 and my expenses of open day are 5,250. Clearly the expenses are greater than the income, so we will include this net expenditure in the expenditure side directly. Our receipts are over here, so let us put these items that we have discussed in the income and expenditure under the income section. We've completed our incomes and our total income for the year is $13,040. Now let's go to our expenditure part. To record the expenditures in the income and expenditure account, we need to analyze our payment section of the receipt and payment account. My first payment here is equipment, 8,000. Now equipment is a capital expenditure, will not be entered directly in the income and expenditure account, but depreciation on asset or depreciation on equipment will be entered. So we will calculate our depreciation on equipment. Purchase of sportswear is already considered when calculating the profit from the trading activity, will not be taken again. Rates and insurance, 1,500. There are no adjustments as such at the end of the year, but I can see an opening insurance prepaid at 60. Insurance for this year was paid in the previous year, and hence that 60 will be added to the 1,500 to arrive at a total of $1,560 as rates and insurance. Next is expenses of open day. I told you the net expenditure of the open day will be recorded in the expenditure section. Expenses were 5,250. We will deduct our receipts from this 4,180. So we get a net expenditure of $1,070. Rent of sports ground, there is no adjustment, no closing adjustment, no opening adjustment. So 1,800 directly in the income and expenditure account. Same for general expenses, directly in the income and expenditure account, 2,640. Apart from this, if I go to my adjustments, my fourth adjustment says loan interest at 5% was outstanding. We need to provide accrued interest of 5%. In the opening assets and liability section, I can see my bank loan was 7,000. So my interest expense or interest accrued for the year would be 5% of $7,350. And finally, depreciation is remaining, so let's calculate our depreciation. Fifth adjustment says depreciation to be calculated at 20% on cost of equipment held at the end of the year. 20% on cost indicates it's a straight line method of depreciation. Equipment at cost in the beginning was 22,000. During the year, we purchased fresh equipments worth of 8,000. So the total cost of equipment held at the end of the year was 30,000. On this, 20% rate will be applied and we will arrive at our depreciation on equipment at $6,000. We have analyzed all our expenditures. So let's go and complete our expenditure section of the income and expenditure account. The total expenditure for the club has amounted to 13,420. Compare this with the income of 13,040. You will realize that the expenditure is greater than income. This leads to a deficit for the year, the difference between the two, which will be $380. Next, the question requires us to prepare the balance sheet. Let's analyze the question and see how can we start preparing a balance sheet. The first section of the balance sheet is the non-current assets, and in this question, I just have one non-current asset, which is the equipment. Equipment in the balance sheet will be recorded at its book value at the end. So let's calculate the book value of the equipment. Opening book value of the equipment was 22,000 cost minus depreciation 4,400, 17,600. To this, fresh equipment purchase will be added 8,000 and depreciation for the year 6,000 will be deducted. So we get a closing net book value of the equipment at $19,600. This will be recorded in the non-current asset section of the balance sheet. Next, we need to record the current assets in the balance sheet. Let us analyze all the current assets first. We start with our closing inventory of $180 given in adjustment number 1. Then we have accrued subscription at the end 240, that was also a current asset. Apart from that, we could have written bank balance, but here the bank balance is a negative balance. It's an overdraft, so that will go to the current liability. So we just have two current assets. So let us record these two current assets in the balance sheet and finally take the total of all assets of the club. So after recording the assets in the balance sheet, next step is to record the accumulated fund and the liabilities. Starting with accumulated fund, we need to calculate the closing accumulated fund balance. For that, we need the opening accumulated fund. We will either add the surplus or deduct the deficit. In this question, there's a deficit of 380. You will deduct that. But first, let us calculate our opening balance of accumulated fund. Opening balance of accumulated fund will be equal to your opening assets less opening liabilities. In this question, opening assets have been given starting from equipment at cost right until insurance prepaid, and after that there is one liability of bank loan 7,000. So let us add all the assets, deduct the bank loan liability and see how much accumulated fund opening balance do we get. So we have our opening accumulated fund at $12,020. From this we will deduct our deficit for the year at $380. We will get the closing accumulated fund balance as $11,640. Next, we need to record our non-current liabilities and the current liabilities. For non-current liabilities, we have a bank loan at 7,000, which will be recorded. And for current liabilities, if we go through our adjustments, we have creditors for purchases at $90. Then we have prepaid subscriptions at $180. We also accrued interest on loan in the income and expenditure account at $350. That will go. And finally, we have the bank overdraft balance as per receipt and payment account at $760. So let us record these liabilities and take a total of the accumulated fund and liabilities. So as you can see here, our assets are equal to our total fund and liabilities. It means our balance sheet is correct. We have not missed out any part of the question. If you enjoyed the video, please like the video. Please share it with your friends. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel. Press the bell icon. We will be having many more such examples coming up. If you want me to make a video on a specific topic or a question, you can always comment below. I will try to do it. Thank you for being there. I'll see you soon.